Hey everyone, it's Dr. David here. We are live. We're doing a video on cartilage today, specifically knee cartilage. We're going to be talking about, there we are. We're going to be talking about the 10 best exercises to heal cartilage and avoid surgery, knee surgery. So sorry, I'm still setting things up. It just takes me like 30 seconds to get everything going. Once I hit the record button and then the live button, and then I get everything else connected. It just, our software is like that, but it's really good, cool software because I can see you guys, the comments anyway. I can see your comments coming in. For example, we already have comments from, I can't pronounce the name, Swishy VJ1, talking about knee cartilage or cartilage in general. I think yes, the answer is yes, but it's slow due to poor blood supply. So what we're here for are the best exercises for that. And then thumbs up, flex, let's go. Yes, it does have a poor blood supply. I'll be talking through my list here in a second, but I want to touch on that one. It's a really good comment. Cartilage absolutely has a poor blood supply, but it does heal. And you hear different things in the medical community. You hear things like it doesn't heal, it can't heal. And it can't heal because of the poor blood supply. But the thing with cartilage is there's fluid inside the joint because cartilage is on the ends of bones, like in the knee, for instance. Do I have my knee joint here? Oh, right behind me. Here's the knee. So the cartilage is on the ends of the bones, and then we have the meniscus on the back of the kneecap right here, and all that's cartilage. And within that, it's encapsulated in a joint capsule. It's basically ligaments that are forming a joint capsule, and there's fluid inside there, and that fluid can move around and help it to heal. So it's not just the blood, there's more to it. And then the exercises that you do, like, you're saying you're here for the exercises, they matter a lot, because if you're doing the wrong exercises, then you're compressing the cartilage. And we're trying to create the environment where we decompress it so that you can allow the fluid to get in there better and you can allow healing to actually happen. It's not just about doing any exercises. You have to do specific exercises in a specific progression in order to let cartilage heal. So that's what I'll be covering with you here today on this video. But let's just see a few more comments here. We have Nawaz Khan says, we like, love, and respect you all. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We have some new members here. Deb Unverfeth just became a member on the YouTube channel. Fantastic. We have Nancy Russell that became a member. Thank you, Deb, and thank you, Nancy. Very cool. And then we have a bunch of comments after that. Hey, let's make sure you guys can hear me. I forgot to do a mic check. Can you check? I'm sorry. Can you drop a comment on here that with yes, I can hear you, or a thumbs up, something like that. And also let us know if you're able to. There we go. Comment if you can hear me. Let us know if you're able to tell us where you're from as well. Fantastic. We got Gordon gave us a thumbs up, Gordon McCullough. And Miss Cat Snipper says, I can hear you. Great. We got a lot of y'all saying that you're hearing me. Awesome. All right. Next, let me know where you're from. There we are. Comment where you're from. Got a little banner on the bottom for you, a little ticker. Isn't that cool? And let me know where you guys are from. I am in El Paso, Texas, by the way. So the far western tip of Texas, and we're kind of sandwiched right north of us. I mean, just miles away is New Mexico, and then like less than a fraction of a mile away is Mexico, a different country. So we're kind of in a neat spot of the state, but very much Texas still. Fantastic. We got Santa Barbara's in the house. Connie Brown. Hey, how you doing, Connie? And then Anne Gray says she can hear us in Peoria. Awesome. Gordon McCullough's in London. We have Silvana from Malta. Oh my gosh, Malta. I don't think I've ever had anybody from Malta on here. Thanks for coming on here, Silvana. Who else we have on here? Nomilis, all the way from Maine. Cool. Russia's here. We got OxyFit Green USA. Yes, I can hear you, Russia. Awesome. Myrtle Beach, Marie Spalding, Cindy Baker from Tampa. So cool. Chesterton, Indiana. That's where Girth Henry. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. Connecticut. Jay Figs is here from Connecticut. And then we have Karen Green from Pennsylvania. So glad I found you. We're glad you found us as well. Oh, Inglewood, California. Cleary. I can hear you clearly. Roseanne Guzman, thank you for letting me know. Hi from New Zealand. Alberta, Canada. Fantastic. Lots of people coming in from all over. Still got comments coming in. Cooper, Texas, Alaska, Croatia, Ontario, Manchester, British Columbia, Canada, Connecticut. And then we got Ann Garcia in Spain for vacation. Oh my gosh, Ann, so good for you. That's cool. All right, let's get started with the list here. How do I get these off? Like that. Okay. I'm going to take the ticker off. Let's get going with this list. So the 10 best exercises to heal knee cartilage and avoid a surgery. Number 1 is going to be your tailgate swings. I love this exercise so much. It does so much good for you. Tailgate swinging, tailgate swings, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm in Texas. I grew up here in the state. I spent a lot of time in Austin. I went to school out there, and so we got trucks all over Texas. If you drive anywhere across Texas, you will see plenty of trucks. And what people like to do in their truck is, you know, go park in their yard, out somewhere at the park, flip the tailgate, the back end of the truck down, and they sit and they just swing their legs. And we call those tailgate swings. And it's so good because, where's my knee? Let me grab my knee. The knee joint, if you think about it, every time I swing my leg, my knee's doing this. And without putting pressure through my knee, because I'm not standing on it, it's just the weight of my leg dangling down. So if anything, it's actually taking a little bit of pressure off. And then I'm just bending my knee nice and easy. I'm not aggressive. I'm not, you know, going fast. I'm not being forceful. I'm not even going through the full range of motion. So this is very light, low level, low intensity. So if you're very irritated, if your knee hurts, if it's swollen, whether it's from a meniscus tear, chondromalacia patella, or you have osteoarthritis in your knee, those are all cartilage related problems, then this can help circulate the fluid. It's called synovial fluid, the fluid inside the joint, to allow it to get to all the spots of the joint, all the corners of the joint, and allow healing to happen better. That fluid, like I was saying, it's made from the blood, the lining of the joint capsule has cells that make the fluid, and it uses blood to make the fluid, and it's helping waste products to go in and out of the cells, and nutrition products like oxygen and, you know, other important building blocks for the health of nutrition to go in. So it's doing its job, taking the bad stuff out, bringing in the good stuff when you do this. The problem with synovial fluid, the fluid inside the joint, is it is only circulated by movement. So it's not circulated by your blood. Like your blood is pumped around your body through your heart. Whenever your heart beats, blood moves around your body, very important for other health functions, but joints are relying on your movement. So if you're injured, you're hurt, it's bad, you can't walk around and you're just sitting there resting, trying to recover, that's okay, because you can't be on your feet, obviously, if you're hurt, but there comes a point where you need to start to do some light movement. You shouldn't be doing aggressive exercise. You shouldn't be, you know, going to go do much on your feet, likely, if it's that bad, or if you're limping or you're hurting. You need to be doing some easy tailgate swings like this. Now, some people will find this to be aggressive. This very light thing might be too aggressive for them. But I find 9 out of 10 people that are in, you know, phase 1 of our programs, meaning you're in the early phase, you're just starting out on recovering from the issue. This is going to be a golden exercise for you. How you do it, like as far as reps, sets, time, all that stuff, let's talk about that. Because you can't just do 30 reps, you know, 60 reps, even 100 reps and be done with it. This requires lots and lots of reps, because we're talking cartilage here. Cartilage in your knee joint takes thousands and thousands of reps for the fluid to circulate around enough for you to move the waste products out and bring the nutrition products in to the cartilage cells for healing to happen. So you need to do this all day. I tell my people in my programs, like we have our patella pain program for our chondromalacia people. We have the knee meniscus recovery program, meniscus tears. And then we have the knee arthritis recovery program for those with osteoarthritis. I tell them to be doing this all day, 5 minutes at a time, every hour would be ideal, while you're awake, of course. So you're talking, you know, 100 minutes a day. If you're doing it 10 times a day for 5 minutes, I'm sorry, that's 500 minutes a day. Am I doing my math right? Oh gosh, I can't do that. So 5 minutes times 10 throughout the day. Yeah, we're talking, I can't do my math right now. It's the end of the day. I'm so sorry. But anyways, it's that much time. So first thing in the morning when you wake up, 5 minutes, go for it. And the nice thing is you don't have to concentrate much. You know, you could be having a conversation like right now, I'm talking with you guys. You could be watching television, listening to something. You could be waiting for your meal to heat up or whatever you're going to be doing at this time. You need to go find a place to sit where your feet dangle. Ideally, you know, get a computer chair, get it all the way up, and just swish your feet back and forth like this. And it feels great. At worst, it should feel like your muscles here are warming up, but not really getting a workout. So tailgate swings, I cannot express how much value this is going to be for some of you guys. You can comment, in fact. Some of you guys have probably done this and said, oh, calm down. I didn't have to take as much pain medication. I went ahead and canceled the injection with a doctor after this. For some of you guys, you've been forcing yourself through a bike. You know, biking is the alternative to this. People will get on a bike and they'll force their way through. The problem is they'll up the intensity and now they're grinding their way through. And then the other issue is biking, like getting on a bicycle, whether it's the upright or the recumbent bike, the one that I was simulating, is people associated with getting a workout. Like you have the dial on there, you know, the control panel, and it's showing you how many calories you're burning and all the stats of your workout there. And so people, they bump up the buttons and they start to go faster. And then before you know it, you're working out your muscles and you're missing the point. The point at this time in your recovery is to calm things down inside the cartilage in your knee, not get a workout. This isn't a workout. This is to help the cartilage chill out, to help the cartilage cool down so that it's prepared to later get a workout. But this would be the exercise you'd be starting off with at the very beginning if you're extremely irritated. So see if anybody commented on here about the tailgate swings. Somebody's making fun of my math. OMG, doctor, can't multiply by 5 by 10. I tell you, it's the end of the day. 5 o'clock, I'm up by 4 or 5 in the morning, and I can do math like nobody's business. But after about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, which that's what time it is right now, I've thought a lot all day, and I'm done thinking. I can talk, but like math is harder for me to do. I'll pull up my calculator. All right, so we got a couple of people saying, I have a recumbent elliptical. Would this be helpful to use? No, I'd say, well, let me back off. If your goal is to just calm the knee down because it hurts, don't use the elliptical or a bike. You need to be doing some tailgate swings. But if your goal is to get a workout for cardio purposes, then it might be okay to use the elliptical or a bike. But you have to be at a different phase in recovery. All right, we got somebody that said, it feels great. It's very helpful. The more I do it, the better it feels. Awesome. Thanks, Mike Music, over on Facebook. Sizzle, sir, tell me your name again. You told me your name last week, and you're going to have to remind me. But she says, I'm trying this. Awesome. Okay, so some of you guys are doing our videos that have this exercise. People are always like, this saved me so much trouble. I feel so much better. Whoops. Come back to comments here in a second. All right, let's go for number 2 here. We got offloading. It's kind of an exercise. It kind of isn't, but it needs to be mentioned because a lot of people will start to walk. And let me just add that on my list here. So this red section right here is your avoid list. Let me write avoid. I'm going to put walking. That's going to be our first one. It ties to offloading. So do we have a walker? Yeah, we do. And a cane and crutches. Look at that. When you have a cartilage injury like osteoarthritis or a meniscus tear, and then chondromalacia patella, I've never heard of people getting told to get the walker out, especially for the younger ones, like for chondromalacia patella and for a meniscus tear. Osteoarthritis, I feel like it's more likely because it tends to be people that are, you know, a little later in life. We're talking like the people that are in their 70s, perhaps even their 60s. But younger than that, getting the walker out just seems ridiculous. It seems like I'm not that old yet. And that's the problem, is you're associating it with age, but I need you to disconnect that because it's not about the age. It's about the pressure in your joint. Because if we think about the knee, sorry, put my knee over there again. Thanks. Whenever you load your weight on it, like you stand up, you're putting body weight through the knee joint. And if the cartilage on the ends of your bone, in the meniscus right here, this bluish thing that I'm wiggling around, and then there's pressure that builds up on the back of your kneecap, all that gets compressed, and it's designed to take pressure. That's kind of the point of cartilage. But if it's irritated and you go stand on it, you're going to irritate it more. So it makes sense to take pressure off using a device like this. So what would be ideal, even if you're 30 or 20 something, is get at the very minimum a cane out. The crutches are probably the better option for you youngsters dealing with cartilage problems, because I feel like this is more associated with athletes, right? The athlete that rolled their ankle or has a sprained knee, scoring the points in the game, then this looks just cooler. But the idea is get pressure off the knee joint, let it heal. If you rolled your ankle, people don't bat an eye at you getting the crutches out and walking around with crutches and not putting pressure through your ankle. But if you have a cartilage injury, as soon as you get a cane out, it's like, oh, what? You're that old now? You got to deal with this problem? Forget that. Get over it. Just get pressure off your leg. You want to use this opposite the side that you're injured. So if it's my right leg, I should have this in my left hand and take steps like this whenever I walk. With the crutches, I would recommend using 2 crutches. You could take off 100% of the body weight, because the cane does not let you take off 100% of your body weight. Maybe like 10, 20 at most. It doesn't take off a ton. The idea is to offload enough so that when you walk, it doesn't hurt you. Because if you're walking right now and you're saying, the pain's coming on, it's getting worse the more I'm on my feet, especially if it hurts as soon as you stand up first few steps, that's not good. Your cartilage isn't ready for full weight bearing. So take the weight off. Use devices like these. And this one's kind of the maximum weight you can take off. Crutches can help a bit, but crutches can help you take off all the weight. But this has a lot more stability. So this is just safer, especially if you feel like you're going to fall, like your balance isn't the greatest. I would be using the walker right away. I have so many people in our recovery programs that will share how they battled themselves with purchasing one of these and then using it. Even the cane, they'll say, I didn't want to use it, and I finally started using it. And then they start making so much improvement because they finally started to offload. I can't stress to you how important it is. Between tailgate swings and offloading, you can get some serious control over a cartilage issue. I strongly believe that there are lots of people, probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, that end up with a cartilage surgery of some sort, or like a joint replacement surgery if you're having a knee arthritis problem, a meniscus surgery, a meniscectomy procedure, a meniscus repair surgery that could be completely avoided. You don't have to have it. Very likely, if you just go through offloading and do tailgate swings and then start to work through the rest of the stuff I'm going to tell you on this list. The problem is people hurt and then they go walking for exercise, sometimes at the direction of a healthcare professional, and they're just walking through pain, not offloading, and it's just making the problem worse, and they're thinking that it's going to get better. Then they end up needing a surgery. You never offload it. You need to offload, and you need to do some tailgate swings at the very beginning. Let's go to number 3 here. We got glute sets. All right, so glute sets with the goal of activating the glutes. Missed opportunity for a lot of people, because here's the thing. I'm going to do this in seated first. You have to fire your butt muscles. In order to progress to the rest of this list, you have to be able to consciously activate your butt muscles. So right now in seated, wherever you are, if you're sitting, standing, lying down, I want you to tighten your butt muscles, just squeeze them and hold it. We're going to go for about 10 seconds. And during this time, think about what other muscles are also working. Are your thigh muscles tightening up? Are your inner thigh, groin muscles? What about the back of your thigh? Are back muscles, like in your spine, tightening up too? What you want, ideally, is for only glute muscles to activate, and then for you to be able to activate them, tighten them as hard as possible, 100%. Now, I'll admit, once you get above 80%, definitely 90+%, it becomes harder to only activate the glutes. But if you are barely activating your glutes, like you're at 10%, and you feel everything in your thighs also working, not good. Worse yet, you're trying really hard. Some of you are at home right now, or wherever you are, you're watching this and you're telling yourself, okay, come on, glutes, come on. And you got nothing in your glutes. Yet you feel your thighs going crazy. They're tightening up a lot. That happens all the time. And that's a big problem, because any exercise you do later on where you need to be firing your glutes, you're not going to fire your glutes. You're going to be compensating with other muscles. And that feeds into the problem at your knee. It's compressing your cartilage too much. This gives me a moment to talk about the muscle imbalance. So you have thigh muscles right here, quad muscles, and they're often responsible for overcompensating whenever this muscle back here, the glutes, the butt muscle, doesn't work well enough. Whether it's too weak, it's inactive, or it's just a timing issue, like it's not firing when it should be firing. Those are kind of sub problems. Either way, if this isn't working right, this muscle takes over, and because these quad muscles, they go down and attach to your kneecap. You can see it on the model here. It's this knee, the right knee. This is the tendon from the quad muscles. There's the kneecap right there. When it tightens, it pulls this way, which pulls the kneecap against the thigh bone right here. There's your chondromalacia patella problem. That's the root problem right there. And then it's pulling the tendon down here that attaches to the shin bone upwards into the thigh bone, and it's squashing your meniscus right there. That's how meniscus tears develop, because this quad muscle is too strong and it's just constantly pulling and squashing your cartilage in your knee. And then the end of the thigh bone right here, where you have a lot of cartilage, all this area is covered in cartilage, it can also become worn down later on, and that's osteoarthritis very often. You get cartilage problems right here. People with osteoarthritis, a lot of them have meniscus tears. A lot of them have problems in the back of the kneecap right here, where you have chondromalacia patella. And those three conditions, chondromalacia patella, that one tends to happen in younger people. Then you get meniscus tears, usually like 30s, 40s. Chondromalacia patella happens in as early as your teens into your 20s. Osteoarthritis can set in as early as the 40s, but very often 50s and 60s and up. But it's the same root problem, this problem that I discussed, and it can be fixed if you just get your glutes to be active. So number one thing that I start people out with is just tighten your glutes and practice tightening them apart from your thigh muscles. That's kind of sub step one here of this third point that I'm giving you. But the very next step after that is then figure out how to tighten the left glute apart from the right glute. So only tighten one, hold it for 10 seconds, then tighten the other, hold that for 10 seconds, and avoid tightening your thigh muscles, because it's going to increase your knee problem over time. It's going to worsen the cartilage injury later on. Then do it in different positions. So do it lying down. You can do this in bed, just before you wake up, or if you're relaxing midday, whatever it is, tighten the glutes right here. You can do this face down too. You don't have to lie face up. You could be on your stomach and tightening the glutes from here. And then I want you to learn how to do this in standing as well, because then you can do this anywhere. You could be out doing things in the middle of the day and it looks like you're just standing around, minding your own business, but really you're practicing tightening this back here without everything else overpowering the muscle contraction back here. Hopefully you guys are following. All right, we got some awesome comments on here. People just letting us know they can hear us. We got Cynthia saying, I have been using a cane when it's really bad. Good. I would use it when it's even just a little bit bad, not when it's really bad. Cynthia says, I'm a teacher, can't use a walker either. I'm so sorry. Do as best you can with the cane. I'd say get the crutches out. Crutches are sometimes a little easier. Shaky thighs. Yes. Those thighs will start to activate when you're trying to activate your glute muscles. Let me see if I can see any other. Lots of comments here. Okay, I'll come through these comments here in a minute. Cynthia Sunflower says, I'm only 59. I'm not using a walker. See, this is what I'm talking about, Cynthia. People have this mentality, and it's ego. I'm going to call you out here a little bit. It's ego, because people will say, well, I'm not even 60 yet. I'm not even 70 yet. I'm still in my 50s. But it's not about age. And yeah, people will think whatever they want to think, but your knee's on the line here. And if you don't fix it, if you don't get the pressure off the knee joint and let that cartilage heal all the way, and if it takes you getting the walker out, then you're signing up for some worse problem later on. You're going to end up having a joint replacement surgery, and that's a worst case scenario, because hopefully it helps, but some people end up worse after the joint replacement surgery, after the knee replacement. But in the meantime, leading up until then, you're dealing with all kinds of knee problems. And if you just spent 4 weeks, maybe even less, maybe 2 weeks of offloading with a walker, like serious, good quality offloading, and then practicing your glute sets, tailgate swings all day long, 5 minutes a day, whatever my math was, 5 minutes a day times 10 times a day, 5 minutes per hour, every hour throughout the day, 10 hours total or more, 16 hours if you're awake, 16 hours. Getting the fluid to circulate. All these 3 things right here. Solid plan to get the pain under control so that you're not dealing with constant pain or flare-ups that just come, out of surprise, but really your muscle imbalance was bad. Get those glutes going. Come on, Cynthia Sunflowers, get that walker out. Who cares if you're 59? If I cross you in public, if you tell me, hey, you're Dr. David, I'm Cynthia Flowers, I'm going to say, thank you for using your walker, please. And if you're not on it, I'm going to get on your case. All right, number 4 here, we have abdominal activation. This one is like the glutes in that, here's the thing. Where's my hips? Here we are. Actually, I'm going to pull the skeleton over because you need to kind of see the whole thing. When you think about the glutes, they're on the back side of the pelvis, right back here. That's where the butt muscles are, your glute muscles, very important for controlling your knee joints. And it's not common, by the way. People with knee problems don't usually work out the glutes. It's rare in healthcare. They attach to the back side of these pelvis bones, the glutes. On the front side of the pelvis bones, on the rims and on the bottom right here, abdominals attach. Lower abdominals attach down here, obviously, and they run on the front of your stomach here. Your guts are on the inside, and then the upper abdominals attached to the rib cage, all this area right here, and you have some tendons that go to the spine. When you have good abdominal strength, especially lower abdominals, it helps to set your pelvis. It gives your pelvis stability so that your glutes can work best. A second problem that I see happen in people with knees, with knee issues, are cartilage problems, is glutes are weak, number 1. Number 2 is abs are weak, lower abs. So let's talk about how to get them to work. I'll show you the exercise on this. When you think about your abs, like I was showing you on the skeleton there, your belly button is the halfway point. So above the belly button is your upper abs, below the belly button, lower abs. We want the lower abs to be working most. What I prefer is for you to lie down on your back and get your lower abs to work by putting a hand under your low back, right above your tailbone, on the lowest part of your low back, and then smash your hand with your low back. You see how I'm pulling my stomach in and I'm flattening my spine down against my hand to put some pressure on there. That makes me then feel the muscles working in my low abs. I feel upper abs working too, but I'm trying to fine tune by pushing the lowest part of my spine right above the tailbone down into my hand. I'm even shaking a bit here, but that makes my lower abs work better. It focuses it in more. You can see my knees are bending and my feet already kind of want to go out. And the other thing that's happening, I don't know if you can see it, but my glutes are contracting. That's good. That's okay. That happens. So just to do it again here, back flat as hard as I can. Then my head wants to lift up too. That's okay. Because if I just try to flatten my back, I don't get as good of a contraction as if I do this. So as soon as my head comes up, I'm starting to shake. I'm targeting the muscles better. It needs to look like this. I tell people even bring your chin down to your chest and make a double chin, and that gets it going. So that would be a lower ab activation. You need to be able to fire those lower abs. Practice it in this position. This is the best thing. You can an alternative way to do it is practice it with your knees bent, and some people will get it better that way. Same thing. I'm picking up my head. I'm thinking about tightening my glutes a little bit, and then I'm really flattening my back with my hand behind my spine. Now, you don't have to have your hand there all the time. That's just like for the beginning. Once you figure out how to do it, then you don't have to have your hand there. And the very next thing that I'll go to after people get the lower ab activation is I'll put them in this position. Then I'll say, reach your hands out, curl up, and really flatten your back and touch the top of your knee, like your kneecaps right here. And that makes your lower abs activate intensely. The goal here is to strengthen and get those lower abs to activate first off, just to get them to turn on. And then you have to get that conscious control over them, because when you can work your abs and your glutes consciously, you're going places now. Now you're set up to do all kinds of other exercises that are going to produce quality control at your knee joint with the right muscle pressures, so that you're not over compressing the joints by using the wrong muscles, right? By compensating. That sets you up for cartilage healing, and that's the long-term plan for avoiding surgery. So ab activation is a big deal. By the way, I cover all this stuff in way more detail, and I have a lot more things that I put into our recovery programs. We have the ones that relate to this video are going to be the knee arthritis recovery program, the patella pain recovery program, that would be for people with chondromalacia patella, and then the knee meniscus recovery program, the meniscus tear program, obviously for people with meniscus tears. We'll put links in the description so that you guys can check that out in case you want to learn more. All right, next one here. Toe curls. Super important. Let me show you in the skeleton why. So here's the left leg. Let's move his arm over. And what we're trying to fight by getting the glutes stronger, I'll show you how it ties into foot stuff here in a second. The way the glutes attach on the back of the hip, they start on this part right here, and then they come and attach to this point of the thigh bone. And when they shorten this way, it of course extends the hip back like this. That's the main action of the glutes, but it also rotates the leg out. And when you rotate the thigh bone right here outwards, what it does at the knee, that's what I'm really interested in for healing arthritis and meniscus tears and chondromalacia patella, is it brings the knee from relatively in this way, inwards, to outwards, and that establishes better pressures in the joint. So let me show you on my body what that means. A lot of people with weak glutes, they tend to stand with their knees kind of inwards. Not everybody, but this happens quite a bit. And when my knees fall inwards like that, I'm not activating my glutes very well, but I get glutes on and my knees come out. So when I think about tightening my butt, sucking in my abs, it does this motion at my hips, but watch my knees here. My knees kind of want to come out a little bit. And now look at my feet, especially my arches, like right here on the insides of my feet. When I do the exact same thing, my arches relatively elevate. They come up. So why don't we get some help from the muscles inside the foot? And the way we do this is, here's your arch on the inside of the foot. If you can get that flat foot, if you have a flat foot, to arch up, then what it does is it moves the ankle up and the shin bone up and assists with that same motion of getting the knee into better alignment, so that your knees aren't caving in, they're straight over your feet, but your arches are providing some support from the bottom up. It's not just all glutes trying to do the work from the top down. So here's how this looks. The toe curl exercise. It helps with the arches. When you curl your toes this way, you use the muscles that are in the arch of the foot. There's some short muscles. There's also some long muscles that go into the calf, and they help, they cross under here. And so they're the muscles that reach the ends of your toes. So when you curl all the way like that and hold it, you're strengthening the tendons and muscles that hold up the arch. So that's what I tell people to do, is curl your toes. And if you can't curl them very well, use your hand over your toes like this to get the knuckles right there to pop up. Just like you have knuckles in your fist, you have knuckles in your foot, and they're right here. They're not in the actual toes right here. You have knuckles here too, but I'm talking about curling these right here, making those knuckles pop out. And you can use your hand for overpressure, but you still have to think about using your muscles within your foot to do the motion. So once, like, I'm holding it right there, and then I'm gonna let off my hand and try to maintain the position with my foot. And then over time, you want to just be able to do it without your hand, just like that. Be careful doing this, because you can cramp. You can cramp up, especially if it's your first time. Over time, usually over like a day or two, maybe 3 or 4 at most, as long as you're consistent with doing this, holding it for 10 seconds like that, it gets easier. Your muscles adapt. You won't cramp. And then all of a sudden you start standing with better arch support right there. So if I don't use my toes, my arch kind of want to falls. And if I flatten my toes like this, you can see my arch raises up, and that helps my knee joint. When I flatten my foot, my knee kind of wants to move outwards this way. That paired with the glutes and the abs, and you've got a solid plan now to take pressure off your knee joint and make sure that it's normalized as much as possible. Now, let me just take a step back, no pun intended, at this point, just to let you know that these exercises, the glute sets, the lower ab activation, the toe curls, are to be done when you're not in a ton of pain. You might be in some pain in your knee, you might have some cartilage issues still, but I wouldn't be aggressively doing these exercises if you're in a lot of pain. If you're early on, it's swollen, it's painful, you can't walk, you need to be offloading, tailgate swings, and resting, and doing like other rest relief stuff. There's all kinds of things you could do. I've got tons in my program. You can probably search the internet for short-term pain relief solutions for knee pain. All those things you can likely try out and just get short-term pain relief. But once it's tolerable for you to do these exercises without increasing the pain, then go for it. All right, what's next here? Next level on the glutes, we got bridges. I'll show the bridge exercise. Let me just come back to the comments here for a second. Let's see who's here. We got Plant-Based Rooster says, thanks, so helpful. You're welcome. Let me come back over here so y'all can see me. Whew, we got lots of comments. MZKG says, recovery from AC is similar to an ACL recovery from what I've been told. Think of it as the same of when they pave a road. You're 6 to 9 weeks non-weight bearing as the area heals, then back to rehab. Okay, looks like I caught that mid idea. Cynthia Flowers says, yes, I'm cramping. Watch out with that foot exercise for sure. Cynthia says, that's a lot. I live alone. Long staircase in the house, no help. Oh, you gotta work this out here, Cynthia. Oh, it's a conversation. I'm scared I will lose mobility someday. Depressing. Yeah, you got to work on this stuff so that you can stay mobile. This is what I think about. Like, there's so many people out there, like I was saying, that have surgery because they don't work on this. They're in pain and they should already be working on this so that it doesn't get worse. And I always see myself as a person to help you amplify your treasures, your gifts for the world, because everybody watching this is special at something, some way, somehow. You have a purpose here on earth, and I want you to live it out the way that you need to. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it when I meet people that I get to know what they're into, the things that they're built for, but then they got this knee issue. They have this diagnosis of a cartilage tear. They have a meniscus tear. And it's starting to define who they are. It's starting to become part of their identity. They can't do that thing because of their knee. They can't participate with family, with friends. That comes out a lot. I can't because of my knee. I can't do, and it kills me. I absolutely hate that. And then even worse when they say, well, I'm seeing the doctor and they just gave me medications, but it's not really better. I'm going to physical therapy and they have me do exercise, but I'm actually getting worse. I'm going to end up having the surgery because I've tried this and that too. Oh, and I also tried this other thing and I traveled over here to try this other. Nothing's worked. They're just going to end up doing surgery. And I'm just, I got my hands on my face and I'm just like, has anybody worked on the muscle imbalances? No. I ask questions. Has anybody worked on your glutes? Can you even activate the glutes? Has anybody done toe curls with you? Any idea on how your lower abdominals are working? I go through all this stuff and they're like, no. And it just kills me. They're walking for exercise. They're cycling for exercises. It's another one to avoid here. Cycling when they should be doing tailgate swings, like really light stuff. And they're getting a workout, getting their thighs stronger doing these two exercises. So Cynthia, I want you to be able to live on your own, do what you want to do without having to cycle through all these exercises and treatments that don't work really well. PRP injections, yep. Like the rehabilitative medicine, the regenerative medicine, like PRP injections. The other one is stem cell injections. There's a bunch of them out there. What's the gel called? Hyaluronic acid injections. Tell you my brain isn't working 100% at the end of the day. Those injections aren't going to fix the root problem of cartilage, injured cartilage. You still have too much pressure buildup because of all these muscles not working right. So even if you get stem cells, and if those treatments do work, let's say the stem cells do actually implant where there's damaged cartilage and they make new stem cells, fantastic. That's what we were hoping for. But your glutes are not active and your quads are still smashing your poor knee joint. Your quad muscles right here on the front are so active, it's yanking your kneecap into your thigh bone. It's smashing all the new cartilage cells right there. Your meniscus isn't healing because it's also being smashed because the same tendon comes down here and pulls up and smashes everything in there. It was pointless. That's why the doctors themselves, the regenerative medicine doctors, the ones doing this, they'll tell you, you got to come back for the next round of injections. This isn't permanent. They say it themselves. And it's because none of this has been addressed, the root problem. So let's fix that. That's what will heal cartilage. Cartilage can heal. Going back to that very first comment that I had, cartilage can heal. It's just a matter of taking the pressures off to make it a better healing environment so that the cells can get the nutrients they need, get the movement in, and they're not being constantly compressed. You got to get glutes, feet, and abdominals to work right. So speaking of glutes, let's teach you the next level. We talked about glute sets. Assuming you know how to fire your glutes, then we need to work on bridges here. Let me show you what that's like. Come on over with me, guys. Come on. Look down, come on. Right here, you got me. So once you can fire your glutes right, and then you got the abs, like we talked about, you got to flatten your back. Then here's the bridge. You're gonna flatten your back. Step one. Step two is tighten your glutes. Like think long and hard about clenching your glutes without all this tightening up too. It might tighten up some, but I want you to be able to say it is glutes working like 80+%. I feel my glutes. If you're there, then you're clear to go to step three. Step three is now to actually lift. And I'm just barely clearing a little bit of space between my bottom and the table here. I'm at maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. I don't know. You guys can see better than I can. And I'm just holding here. You got to hold it. There's a scientific reason why. I'll tell you in a second. But then you're testing this the first rep. Am I still using my glutes, or is it now becoming thighs? After about 10 seconds, relax. And if you feel like you did it right, you got the glutes working. That's the goal here, glutes. A lot of people, this is another thing, Cynthia. A lot of people will do bridges. Their doctor tells them to do it. Their PT tells them to do it. They saw it on YouTube. It's supposed to be good for arthritis and meniscus tears, knee, other cartilage problems in the knee. But what they'll do is they won't go through these steps. They'll just go, boom, I did a bridge. I'm doing bridges. And they'll go up and down as high as possible. No respect for what muscles are actually working. No training on how to fire those muscles. They're just going for it. And then you finish your set and they get off the table or wherever they're doing that, and they'll say, yeah, I felt good. I got my muscles back here to work on the bridges, and I felt it back here. And maybe a little here. I don't know, maybe not. Definitely here. I even felt it on the inner thighs. Some PTs will say, oh, here's a little ball. Put it between your knees. Squeeze it as you're going up and down. And that's just feeding into the muscle imbalance. Your groin muscles, they bring your knees in. Like I was telling you, when you stand, knees want to come in. Not good. So you have to go through these steps. All right. Step one, back flat. Step two, tighten the glutes. We're not even lifting yet. Just tighten the glutes. Step three, now lift. The first time, just lift a little. The next time, lift a little bit more. See how much you can take with glutes still dominating the lift here. Hold for 10 seconds. You have to do holds at the beginning, not reps like I showed earlier. That's the wrong way to do it. The reason for the holds is because you're trying to get a better connection between your brain and the nerves that go down from your brain to these muscles back here. And if you just go up, down, it doesn't give your nerves and your brain a chance to synchronize everything very well. And then that's how you have these compensation patterns that happen. And you're firing the wrong muscles. And then later on, you're giving yourself a pat in the back because you're like, I did 100 bridges, but you did them all with the wrong muscles. And your muscles don't even know how to work back here. Back flat, butt tight, lift up, control it. Make sure you pay attention. Don't be doing other stuff while you're doing this exercise. Very key exercise, but you have to go through the steps properly and make this muscle back here, the butt, the glutes, Gluteus maximus, work. Right? We're targeting the thick part of the hips in the back. After 10 seconds, come down. The reason for the 10 seconds is because of that nerve to muscle connection. They show there's this idea of tetany, muscle tetany, and that means that there's more cells that are going to activate because of the nerves that are connected. It has to do with the motor neuron. You can look this up. I'm not making things up. This is real. It's well known in science. There's a motor unit, and the more nerve signals you send to the muscle, the more muscle cells within the muscle are going to activate. Because if the muscle's been dormant, it's not even working, you need to wake up the muscles. A lot of you guys, especially you older people, you guys that are, and I'm going to call you guys out 50s, 60s and up, but some of you 40 and 30-year-olds too, even you 20-year-olds, you don't have a butt. The muscle's atrophied. It's thinned out because you're not using it. The muscles are smart. The body says, I don't need to work. Hamstrings got this. Quads got this. Back muscles got this. I've met so many people in their 60s and 70s that have giant back muscles and tiny butt muscles. And ladies, you're sneaky because some of you ladies are curvy and it's just the shape of your body, but your butt muscles aren't doing anything. Even though you got a butt, it's not working. I've seen you guys here in the clinic, and that's why you have knee pain. That's why you have hip pain too and back pain. But we're talking about knee cartilage today. It's glutes that you absolutely have to focus on and be targeting every single rep you do this exercise and any other exercise. You have to get your glutes tired. See, I don't know how many reps and I've lost count, but I feel right now barely anything going on here, a lot of burn happening back here, a tiny bit of warmth happening in my back. Those are all the muscles that are involved in this lift, but it should feel like you definitely targeted the butt. That's a bridge. All right, guys, do this right, please. It's not taught well. It's a very common exercise done very poorly. I think about, I love sports. I'm a sports guy for sure. I think about professional sports. I love watching like football, baseball, basketball, those sports. And these top level athletes, even like Olympians, whatever sport it is, people that are at the top of their sport, at the beginning of a new season, they are practicing the basics. And if you think about it, you see these crazy plays, the ones that make the news, ESPN top 10 best plays of the week, of the month, of the year. And those are amazing plays, but on a team that's really good, or for a player that's really good, an athlete that's really good, that was less than 1% of the time they spent playing very often. It's rare that you see a player making trick shots every single play or every single game. You see them doing the basic things very well. They're just excellent at running the bases. They're excellent at free throws. They sprint really well. They come off the blocks really well. They just do the basics extremely well. And I feel like bridges are one of those that you just have to do very well. We didn't even add any weights yet. We just made sure you use the right muscles. Very big deal. All right, what's next on here? We got heel raises, number 7. Y'all with me still? You guys hanging in there? Anybody learning anything? Mike Music says his butt likes to go, our butts like to go on vacation. They do. It's so true. There's a whole little thing on social media of people talking about old man butt. Old men don't have butt. That's why they wear suspenders sometimes, because the belts, think about it, their hips, where the butt's supposed to be, is so withered away that the waistband of the pants won't sit on their hips, so they fall, and not even a belt can help. So you got to wear suspenders to hold your pants up. It depends on your body type and all that, but that's kind of the idea. You should have a butt that holds up your pants. So that's a big deal. Well, I got a good question here from Ferret Snatcher R2P. How can I self-diagnose tibial shift? My feet turn inwards. Tibial shift is kind of a separate thing I wasn't planning on talking about today, but the best way to notice if you have a tibial shift initially is if you have pain, usually on the inside of your knee. Let me show you on the skeleton here. So this is the right knee. So it'd be on this side. My left knee would be over here. So it'd be pain on the inside part of your knee. and then it's usually pain when you bear weight, like when you stand, and it usually comes on suddenly. It doesn't creep up. It wasn't there yesterday, and now it's here today. Same day. It might be that you in the morning you were fine, then this afternoon you feel it, and very often it can go away just as fast. But that's number one, is that you have pain on the inside of your knee. It's not 100%, but that's pretty common. The next best thing that I like to do with people is just go through the treatment of pushing your knee. I have videos on this. So if you're asking about tibial shift, you've probably been watching my videos because it's not talked about by very many other healthcare practitioners out there. But do the correction that I talk about in the video. And if it goes away, you probably had a tibial shift, especially if you get like a pop or a click or a shift in your knee. There was an alignment issue there that you corrected, and you can be pretty certain that you had a tibial shift that you just fixed. It might come back. If you had a tibial shift, it just means that you're predisposed. I really think some people are just predisposed based on their ligament laxity, like past injuries. Like there's a bunch of factors that go into it. But if you had one, then I would just say, watch out, you might get it again, and be ready to treat it again. It's not something that should stop you, although it stops a lot of people. Like they'll have a meniscus injury. I'm sorry, they'll have a tibial shift that they'll diagnose as a meniscus injury because they'll go get an MRI and they'll find the meniscus tear. And then they think they need surgery. And a lot of times it was just a tibial shift that needed to be corrected. Yeah, the tear was there, but was it really painful? Was it really the main source of pain and the main problem? The doctor doesn't know how to check tibial shifts. They don't know how to fix it. They just know how to do surgery and give you medications and injections. And if those things don't work before surgery, they go to surgery. So try the tibial shift fix. Very easy to fix. Can be as little as minutes. Good question, Ferret Snatcher. Let me get back to my list here. I'll get that one. Cynthia's got a lot of good stuff. Sorry, Cynthia, I'm picking on you, but thanks for being a good sport. You're still here. Heel raises. Let's cover the exercise. Pretty straightforward here. I'm going to use a walker for balance. You don't have to use a walker for this exercise. In fact, I'm just going to turn it around. But you could use a wall. Just hold on to the wall. You're going to be doing this motion here. Sometimes I'll get a step stool, a tall step stool that has handles up here. But the idea is you're going to grip the ground with your toes. Let's just show it, because this builds off of the toe exercise. We did the toe curl exercise where you're curling your toes like this. You have to be able to grip the ground with your toes as if you're curling your toes. However, your toes aren't going to curl because they're flattening on the ground here. And then you're going to do a heel raise while still pushing your toes down. And the idea is if you think about your fingers, whenever you, sorry, I'm staying in the light here. Thanks. Whenever you put pressure through your fingers, your fingertips will blanch and turn white because you squeeze the blood out. If you do it long enough, it hurts. But if you just do it for a quick moment, it's no big deal. Your fingertips just turn white. Toe tips do the same thing. So you're not trying to smash your toes too much, just enough to blanch them. And once you've got that set, then you're going to do your heel raise. And what I like to tell people to do is hold it, toes down, hold it up here for 10 seconds. Think about your toes the whole time. Get your heels up as high as you can. And then after about 10 seconds, come on down. And what you'll feel is the muscles in here working, the muscles in the calf, bottom of the foot, because you're thinking about using your toes, so they'll go too. They'll be used as well, and you'll feel the workout. And I'm leaning on quite a bit just to make sure my balance is all right. But as you get better, you can hold on with a finger or two or nothing if you feel like you're balanced. But ideally, I want you to hold up here for 10 seconds. This is going to strengthen the muscle that holds up your arch even more, so that when you're standing and you do that glutes tight, arches in, your knees should slightly go out. If you're bow-legged, it's you got to be careful going out too much. But most people are not bow-legged. Most people are knock-kneed, relatively, not bad, like not severe, but their knees tend to fall in a little bit, and we need the glutes to be stronger and the arch muscles of the foot to be stronger by doing the heel raises, so that when you go walk, when you do normal things, when you live your life, the strength is there. That's why these exercises are so important. So heel raises as far as reps, I tell people when you're in this phase of our programs, which is going to be more like phase 2 and 3. I tell people to be doing 100 plus reps per day, every day. And it's every day because we're trying to boost strength, not maintain. If you just do this a couple times a week, then you're in the maintenance phase, really. You could technically gain strength, but do you want to gain strength fast or slow? If you want to be done with this problem and well away from reoccurring cartilage issues, then I would go fast. And that's what you would work up to. You may not be there right away. You might start with 10 or 20 a day, 50 a day. Over the course of a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months, work your way up to 100 reps a day. And same goes on this. Let me just highlight it differently. On this recommendation of 100 reps per day, reps, same goes over here on bridges. Reps per day, holding. So you might spread it out. You might do it eventually as you get better at it, do it all at once. But that amount, that quantity, that volume of exercise is what's needed. I have to stress that to you guys because some of you guys are like, wow, that's a lot every day. I'm like, yeah, every day. 100, holding for 10 seconds every day. Yeah, but it can't hurt you. In other words, don't do so much that it hurts. So if you're working on 100 reps a day and you're on rep 78 and it's starting to hurt, stop. You don't have to get 100 that day. It's okay. Some people will never get to 100 reps a day because what they did getting up to 30 or 40 or 50 reps was adequate strengthening for them to feel better enough to do their normal things that they do every day. But that tends to be a small fraction of people. What I find is most people need to hover around 100 reps a day, holds, and then we bring it down to reps. But the holds are big. They're a big deal for the heel raises and bridges at the beginning stages, like stage 2 especially. All right, we did heel raises. Let's get into mini squats. Finally doing some squats. I love squats. So you got your glutes working earlier. We already did some foot stuff. We got the abs working, of course. Now we got to get into some squatting because it is a very important motion for humans to do. You have to be able to sit and stand, for using the toilet, for getting into the car, for just sitting at home somewhere, having a meal, doing life, work, all that stuff you do, you have to be able to sit and stand up. So let's practice it. When you sit and stand, you should ideally be using your glutes. That's what I want to focus on here. When you're going to do a mini squat, all you're going to do is unlock your knees about this much. If your knees hurt doing this, you shouldn't be doing it. You need to be in earlier stuff that I covered. When you're activating your glutes and abs and feet better, then we're good to be here. But you're going to be pushing your knees out to activate your feet, then shove your hips forward because that activates the glutes in the back and it makes you want to activate your abs. You should be thinking about tightening your lower abs here by doing a forward hip thrust. Let me show you the side view. So feet, glutes, abs right here. You can see my back is kind of almost a little rounded. That's necessary because when you round your back like that, it makes you use your abs and your glutes properly. Then you're just going to dip down subtly. That's a mini squat. Hold for 10 seconds. And the same idea here, you want to do 100 reps a day. Work up to it. Don't start there. Work up to it. I have people start out with 10 to 20 reps a day and gradually work up to it as they feel comfortable. They always complain. They say, it's getting tiring. I'm getting sore. And I say, good. That means we're strengthening. That's what we need to be doing. So I'm this low. No need to go lower, especially if it hurts. You shouldn't be forcing it lower. Another way to think of this is if you go lower, there comes a point where quads want to take over, hamstrings want to activate a lot. That's too low. You're now feeding the imbalance. So stay higher. Stay at the level where you still feel glutes working. Up to my glutes there, pretty good. So right there, feet are going. Oh, let me say this too. I like to get in this stance, my feet about hip shoulder width apart like that, and then I'm pointing my toes out. But not everybody has to do that. I relatively you should. Like most people should move, open their toes a little bit, spread their feet apart a little bit. But based on your genetics, you might look like you're doing it like this. And as long as you're getting the glutes to be active by following the instructions I'm giving you with your knees going out, hips forward, all that, that's okay. Some of y'all that are very flexible might be like way out here. I can't even do that comfortably. Their feet are in this plane. They're like completely sideways out there and their knees are way out there. I'm just not that flexible. And they're doing like a ballerina plie squat, and that's how they get their glutes active. That's fine too. The point of this exercise is not to make it look exactly like me. It's to get your glutes to work. It is to get your glutes to work. That's number one thing that needs to be accomplished here in a mini squat. And then over time, as you get all these reps in that I'm talking about, gradually work on getting a little lower. Still focusing on using these muscles back here. And then eventually, you don't have to push this, but some of you guys will be able to get all the way down here and still use your glutes. And then eventually down way low and still use your glutes. But it starts with a little mini squat where you just barely unlock your knees, hips forward, abs in, toes activated. You're using you're hitting all the main points here. All right, covered the mini squats here. Any of you guys tried mini squats yet? While I catch my breath here. What do we have here? Dr. David, do you have the link for your program? I don't know which program to get. They're all on our website, epmanualphysicaltherapy.com. All our programs are listed on there. The front page will have our back pain program, knee arthritis recovery program, and the hip arthritis recovery program. Many people will have multiple, like all three of those problems, or like a meniscus injury too. My advice to you, if you're looking at our programs, is to pick one program that is the worst problem that you want to fix. For instance, you might have knee arthritis and a meniscus tear and hip arthritis and maybe even back pain. Pick one. I wouldn't get in all of them, just pick one, because I'm fixing muscle imbalances with you. I'm showing you how to fix them. And there's a lot of similarities. You don't need to be in multiple programs, just do one at a time. And if you go through the entire program and don't also fix the other issues you have, I'll be shocked. It happens all the time where people are on our knee arthritis recovery program and they also have hip arthritis, and they'll say, my knee arthritis is absolutely getting better, but so is my hip arthritis. That was unexpected. My back pain's even getting better too in the knee arthritis recovery program, and vice versa. It happens in our other programs where they have knee arthritis, but they're there for hip arthritis, but the knees get better too. So go check out the programs and see which one best suits you. All right, let's get into the last parts of our list here. We got a lunge next. This is advanced lunges. So lunges are ideally for when you're doing reps. So if you've already figured out the holds, I don't tell people to go into reps until you have consistently, without having to think very hard, been able to activate your glutes in every motion. So if you can do squat reps and you feel like your glutes are activating every single time, you're not battling yourself on trying to make your thighs not work, then you're clear to go into lunges. And the way I think of lunges is very different than from anything else I've seen. A lot of people will put their feet in a line like this, and then they'll think to lunge this way. I don't like that because that's going to be automatically very quad dependent, hamstring dependent. I still want you to fire your glutes here. And by the way, how often do you get down like this? Not that often. So I think of more of a squat and just stagger your squat this way, because really that's how most people will kneel. Think about it. If you garden or if you pick up something from the ground, you often will kneel down like this and then get to whatever you got to get to. At least that's how you should do it. What you shouldn't do, because it throws your balance way off, is, I mean, think about it. If you're going to pick up that thing that fell on the floor, that marker, and you're like, oh, I got to get that thing. You might bend straight over, but if you have to kneel, it's rare that people say, okay, I'm going to put my feet in a line and then kneel down to get it. That's not practical lunging. Practical lunging is more like this, like wide stance. So let's practice it like that. Get in a squat stance, just like we did the mini squats in earlier. Bring 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Push your knees out, activate your feet, hips forward. Glutes are going now. Glutes are active. Then do your lunge from there. You can get farther apart and do like a full-on lunge if you need to. But the point is, when you're lunging, you don't have to have your feet in a line. Go wider stance. You should feel balanced. And then drive your knees out. because you'll feel the difference. If you squat down right here and you bring your knees in, all of a sudden this muscle takes over. If you stand with a closer stance like this and your knees are more in line, heavy on the quads. But as soon as you drive your knees out, quads deactivate, they work less, and then glutes activate. They start to turn on, as long as you've been practicing using them. So however you want to do it, this wide, again, going back to like the mini squats, it doesn't matter that it looks exactly like my lunge. It just matters that you use the right muscles. Knees out, toes out, feet active, glutes active, hips need to be forward, not back here. So a lot of people do lunges like this. See how I'm bringing my chest to my knee? My butt's out relatively here. But if I do this, I'm bringing my butt under my spine, all of a sudden my glute wants to work better. Make your glute work better. That's the takeaway point with lunges. By the time we're doing lunges with people, like I said, we're doing reps. So I'll have people work up to 100 reps. I'm going to say these are holds. Holds. But for lunges, we're doing reps, no holds. And we're doing 100 reps for lunges. And the last exercise here, which is going to be a hip thruster. I'm going to be using a barbell for this one. So advanced, like these, let me just put stars, asterisks on these because they're advanced. But I love this one for glute development because we're talking glute development as a heavy concept here for healing cartilage in your knee. Now there's all different kinds of ways to do this. I haven't done this in this room before, so bear with me. I'm going to use this step stool, but a lot of times you'll have access to like if you're in the gym, a bench. Better yet, I'm going to use a table. Like I'm talking about like a weight bench, like a gym bench. Something kind of padded. And this is essentially a bridge exercise that you're doing. So if you think of a bridge, you're picking up your hips like this, right? The idea now, though, is that you're going to put weights on your hips, and I'm going to use this barbell to do it. Now, you could do this with smaller weights like these to start out so that it's not so aggressive. You would have already had to practice the bridge. I would say you should have done mini squats for now. You should have very good control over your glutes. Your knee shouldn't be hurting to do this. Come up and come down, but you're weighting it with these. And as this gets easier for you, I'd work up to doing 50 to 100 reps. And I would do them all in one sitting. Like you could take breaks, you could do 10 at a time, but I would do them all within the same workout, within an hour, 30 minutes of each other. You're going to put the bar against your hips here. Just be careful with your placement. They sell padding for this. Some people will wrap a towel around it. And then keep your hands here for stability. And the goal here is glutes. So think about glutes. I'm tightening them. Suck in your lower abs. Then come up and come down. And each time you come up, glutes should tighten up as much as you can. Every single time, get those glutes to fire. And you can add more weight on the sides here if you feel like it's okay for you. But I love this one to just isolate glute activation, get the glutes stronger. You're not having to really worry about your balance. You're not having to worry about your knees too much. And it takes your quads out of this very largely, as long as you're not bringing your knees together. That wants to activate your quads. Keep your knees apart. You can turn your toes out. Just think of like the mini squat position, but you're having to drive through your hips to get the glutes to activate quite well here. So there you go. Hip thrusters with a weight, with barbell weight in this case. Excellent exercise. Let's get to some comments. And then I got a few more things that you want to avoid if you're trying to heal cartilage and avoid knee surgery. You just put a couple things back here. All right, so you guys got questions? Let's answer as many as we can here. Let's just take a swig of water as well. Water is so important, guys, for cartilage healing too. Cartilage is mostly water. I hear different estimates, depending on the textbook and the source and all that. But I hear things like 60%, anywhere from 60, 70, 80% of cartilage is water. So for those of you that don't drink water, that you're drinking, fizzy drinks, like carbonated drinks, your teas, your coffees, those things. Like, I'm not completely against those. Sure, there's some bad stuff out there, but if you're drinking plenty of water, I'm sure you're going to offset a lot of it. But the problem is if you're hardly drinking any water and you're drinking a bunch of other drinks, especially the fizzy drinks, they're not the greatest for your body, and I would think for your cartilage as well. It will help you to circulate the fluid in your knee for tailgate swings if you have plenty of water in you. All right, let's answer comments here. Oh, we have a super chat here. Sorry, I moved the camera. Just didn't want to hit it. All right, Californication says, thank you so much for all you shoulder us, all you do for us, show us. You have really helped me. I am almost back to 100%. Oh, fantastic. That's awesome, Californication. So happy for you. I'm happy to do this stuff as long as y'all are willing to listen. All right, let me go to some comments here at the way top. Whew, we got 193 people on with us. That is fantastic. Aish Waria, can't pronounce that. I'm so sorry. She says, or he says, looks like a lovely lady there in the picture. Hello, Dr. David. Is it possible to heal the cartilage damage in stage 2 chondromalacia patella at the age of 31? Oh my gosh, you're so young still. Thank you. 100% yes. Cartilage damage in chondromalacia patella is very easy to repair. I do this to people all the time. I made the program for it, patella pain program, the patella pain recovery program. And it is focused on doing all this stuff here, but even more. There's a clear plan. The goal is to make sure that you get the pressures offloaded from that kneecap, and it starts with not using your quads with all the activities that you're doing. You won't, when you start to think about how quad dominant you are, I'm pretty sure you are if you have chondromalacia patella, it goes back to using your glutes. You have to get those glutes active and be able to use them while you're walking. If you do any sort of cycling, these two things here, just walking around the house, if you can start to take that pressure off and get some consistent motion in your knee that isn't aggravating it, you can begin to heal the cartilage. I help people do that all the time, in person and then through our programs, of course. So 100% yes. Now, not everybody believes that, and there's a lot of healthcare professionals out there that'll tell you, oh, once a cartilage is damaged, the damage is done. That's it. But they say that, I think, because they don't get to see their patients recover, because they're not giving them the good advice to recover. They're saying, here's a pain medication, we'll see how you do. Here's an injection, it might take the pain off for a bit. But there's no instruction on what exercises to do, what plan to follow, how many reps to do, how to interpret whether or not you're on the right track. That's what I've given you here. And that's what I go way more into depth on in my programs. And if you follow the program just like I wrote it out, people get better, way better. And they're to the point where they're back to being active again. So very possible to get this chondromalacia patella problem fixed. To put it in perspective, Aisha Warari, I can't pronounce it. We've helped people with bone-on-bone knee arthritis, where the doctor's telling them you need a replacement in your knee joint. We've gotten them to be very active. So chondromalacia patella is a little less intense than arthritis. It's very doable. Looks like you have a follow-up comment here. Also, how long does a cartilage take to heal? There is so much noise around cartilage online that it is difficult to find rational and genuine guidance. Yeah, it varies. What I've seen personally is depending on how it's more dependent on how severe your muscle imbalance is. I think that's why there's a lot of confusion online as to how long cartilage takes to heal, because we know it takes a long time. It's not like skin. Skin heals pretty fast as long as it has everything it needs to heal. The issue is that there's bad pressures going through the cartilage, and some people that don't have a big muscle imbalance, they heal fast because there's no excessive pressure on the cartilage. But people that do have a muscle imbalance, they're constantly compressing the cartilage and not letting it heal. So improvements just come in much more time. It takes way longer. So it really depends on removing the imbalance, doing this stuff that I'm talking about here, getting your glutes stronger, and consistently using your glutes while you walk, while you do your everyday activities, stairs, so that you're not hurting your cartilage when you go do your normal day activities. You have to take the pressures off. It's so important. To give you a hard number on how much time it takes, people going through our program are reporting anywhere from 3 to 6 months for chondromalacia patella. For osteoarthritis, it's more like 6 to 12 months. So it varies depending on the condition and then how long the imbalance has been there for you. How bad, how severe the imbalance is, and how well you can overcome it. Because some people will overcome it fast. They get me and they'll trust me and they'll say, all right, I'm doing glutes, no more quads. And they'll say, oh my gosh, within a week, I feel so much better. And they're sold on them, they keep going. And there's other people that will kind of trust me. They'll try some glute stuff here and there, but they're also working some quads. They're doing a little bit of that. They're mixing things. And then they're saying, well, it's taking me like a few weeks to feel some improvements. Well, yeah, because you're doing other stuff that's feeding into the imbalance. And there's other people out there talking about, how important quads are and working out all the muscles together, but it doesn't fix the imbalance if you do that. It worsens the imbalance. So I say stick to not using your quads, stick to using your glutes. Go check out our program if you want to do that. And I would imagine you'd be getting better really fast, like within months. I've seen people suffer for years, like a decade with chondromalacia patella, and then eventually develop a meniscus tear, and then eventually get osteoarthritis. I have people that come in with arthritis who said, I've had knee problems since I was in my teenage years. I've had like Osgood-Schlatters. I've had tendonitis in my knees, bursitis in my knees, a slew of knee problems. And it's a progression. It's all tied together by this darn muscle imbalance. It's right under our noses. All the doctors out there it's seeing them. It's one of my mentors told me, the conditions see you, but the professionals don't see them. Chondromalacia patella is not, that's the symptoms. The root problem is a muscle imbalance, but they don't know how to see it. They don't know how to diagnose it. They don't know how to treat it. But I got you guys. Hope that helps. Nathaniel A. Merriam. Hi, Dr. David. Does collagen from cow and chicken paws or the powdered one help renew cartilage? Thank you from Aruba. Oh, that's so cool, Aruba. I'm not 100% sure if that specific collagen helps. I can't tell you definitively that collagen is going to help. I think that you should try it, though. If you find collagen supplements out there that are intended to help heal joints, heal cartilage, there's other ones out there like glucosamine and chondroitin. MSM is another one. There's a bunch of other supplements out there, anti-inflammatory ones. I think they're all good. Unless you have a reaction to it, I wouldn't take it then. But here's my stance on all that stuff. You can take it as long as it's made for that. The intention is there. I think it's better than relying on medications because there's well-known side effects for a lot of medications. And either way, either the medications or the supplements, they don't fix the imbalance. They don't change the pressures in your knee joints. So it's not going to help the cartilage. We have to uncompress the cartilage. Because if you think of cartilage, it's like a sponge. If you think of a dish sponge, like the one you wash your dishes with, when you have a wet sponge and you squash it, all the water comes out. Cartilage is similar. The cellular matrix, the way the molecules are all designed in the cartilage, they look like all these tentacles. They're designed to attract water. That's why it's mostly water. But when it gets compressed, the structure pushes the water out from the compression, and then it becomes less slick. Cartilage is designed to be slick so that there's easy motion at the joint. When you bend your knee, it should be effortless because there's so little resistance inside the joint because your cartilage is well hydrated and there's good lubrication there. That's why the joint fluid too. But when it's all compressed and you squash the cartilage, the water goes out and you have less slickness in your cartilage. It's less. There's more friction. That's why you hear noises, and that's why it pops because it gets stuck and it snaps loose. It pops and you have better movement afterwards because you just freed it up. Just think of like loosening up a jar for jelly or jam. It's got sugar, so when you When you unstick it, it makes that snap sound because you just unstuck it. And then after that, you can close it and open it a lot easier. But then give it some time and it gets stuck again, unless you clean the rim, of course. It's the same thing in your joint. It's just that it's been compressed, less water in the cartilage, because think of the disc sponge. But when you uncompress it, when you remove the bad pressures by fixing the imbalance, then over the course of weeks, water starts to come back in. You do your tailgate swings and it circulates the fluid, water comes in and it fills up the cartilage again, then it becomes slick and you can feel better in your cartilage. You can heal as well. But you have to go through that process in order to fix the root problem. The collagen, all the other supplements don't fix that root problem. They set up healing. They have all the components. It puts all the components in your entire body so that potentially you get it into the joint where you need it, but we don't know for certain that that's going to help. But if you have the intent to do that, you have the money, you want to try it out, go for it. I don't think there's a harm unless you have a reaction to it. I hope that helps, Nathaniel. Paul Guthro. Hi, Eileen. Oh, Eileen from Canada. Okay. But you got some more comments on here. Thank you for your videos. I no longer need pain medication and pain decreases daily. That's so cool. Love the dangling, the tailgate swings. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Got another comment here. Eileen, I was diagnosed with mild to moderate arthritis in my left knee. Thank you. Oh, that's so great that it's getting better. Hopefully you don't need surgery and get back to doing everything you want to do. The pain was very intense. Yeah, that's a good point. You can have mild arthritis as far as what the x-ray says and have intense pain. Like cut my leg off today and I'll be better off pain. You know, like I'll do anything to calm the pain down, the severe pain. And then you can have very intense looking arthritis in your x-ray and have little to no pain. So the x-ray isn't the end all be all. Doctors use it as that because that's their way of looking at the inside of your knee. But you have to go by the pain more than anything else. In fact, what I've seen consistently is most surgeons, their criteria for operating, for doing a joint replacement surgery is the presence of arthritis on the x-ray plus how well you can take it. Like, can you live with it, basically? Because they'll say things like, well, when it gets bad enough, come back and see me, we'll do the replacement. It's not anything else. That's the criteria they have to go off of. But it makes me think about the question of, even if it was severe arthritis as seen on the x-ray, bone-on-bone arthritis as seen on the x-ray, but you remove the pressure by fixing the imbalance and the pain went down, you still might have severe bone-on-bone x-ray diagnosed arthritis. But if you can walk around feeling fine, your glutes are active, your feet are active, abs are going, your quads aren't over dominating all the motions, then why get a replacement? You're moving better, you're feeling better. Ultimately, you're relieving the pressure. And the way the x-ray looks too, I think an x-ray is a picture. It's a picture, an x-ray picture of your knee in a compressed state with an imbalance present. But once the imbalance is removed and you give the joint time, I wonder how many of those x-rays actually show up as no longer bone on bone. We haven't done studies for that. But just because we don't have studies doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It's just we're not studying it. We're studying how to do surgery better and which medications work better. And we're studying the wrong things, in my opinion. But it's another conversation for another day. Who else we have here? Marine says, how long should you stay off your feet for knee cartilage repair? Is standing for 2 to 3 hours okay? Have chores? Does bending to pick up something put stress on the knee joint? It's not about a clear time, Marine. Like, I can't just tell you, oh, stay off of it for, 80% of the day, or don't be on your feet for more than, an hour a day, or anything like that. It's more about your tolerance and how well you feel like you're using the right muscles, the stuff that I've been talking about on this list. Because it's a moving target. In other words, if you're very severely irritated, you might not tolerate 2 or 3 hours of standing on your feet in a day. And it might not be a good idea to pick up something, to bend to pick up something from the ground. But if you can get through some of the early stuff here, like tailgate swings, offloading, and start to fire the right muscles, like with glute sets, lower abdominal activation, and the toe curls, then it might put you in a space now where you can tolerate more exercise, which means you could probably be on your feet for longer. over an hour, over multiple hours, but you have to work your way up into it. So it's not like a clear cut, do it this way or that way. I have a cutout here for the wrong program, but it still applies to like the knee arthritis program. This is our back pain recovery program phases. And it's very similar. There's some differences though. But we have 4 phases in the knee arthritis program and in the meniscus program and in the chondromalacia program, the patella pain program. And in phase 1, it's when you're very severe. So you have a person using a walker, they're offloading. Phase 2, the pain is still there. Like here, we have pain 1 to 3 days per week, night pain 1 to 3 days per week. Time on feet is still not even 30 minutes. But then as you get into phase 3 and 4, the pain is only once in the past 2 weeks. You can be on your feet for up to an hour. Here in phase 4, it's been 4 weeks since you've had pain, and you could be on your feet over an hour now. Similar for knee problems. So if you're talking about your situation, if you have cartilage damage and it's osteoarthritis, or if it's a meniscus injury, it changes. If you're in phase 1, you probably shouldn't be on your feet long. But if you're in phase 4, you can probably do a lot. But the way you move along the phases is by strengthening the right muscles. So I can't give you a clear-cut answer, Maureen. You have to analyze where you're at. And we've got these programs to help you with that. You can look through our videos. Obviously, I break a lot of it down. Like here, ask questions. I'm happy to help. Katerina Sukova. Hello, Dr. David from England. I recognize your name. I think I've seen you around. Hey, Katerina. Ruth Hook says, what is your opinion or experience and or of arthrosamid, and has it been helpful for medial knee pain? I've not heard of that before. I don't know what arthrosamid is. I can't answer that, Ruth. I'm so sorry. I'll have to look it up. Rosanna Guzman says, my doctor gave me cortisone, but it didn't work. Yeah, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's very effective. A lot of times it is. And it can reduce inflammation. But something that you need to know is inflammation is the first stage of healing. Like it's a necessary first step in healing. But doctors will give that to you knowing that. Like they don't always say that to you. I haven't actually heard a patient ever tell me that they explained it to them anyway. I'm usually the one explaining it to them. And that's why they'll limit you on how many injections you can get per year, because it is well known that too many steroid injections in a knee joint or other joints too will break down tissues because they don't get to heal, because it stops the healing process. There was a research study that I made a video on, a part of a video recently, that said that as little as 1 injection can actually slow down the healing process. That's what they're starting to find out. But they'll limit you at 3 right now. It's a very effective pain reliever too. So it's a misconception in my neck of the woods. The way I would tell people is it's masking the pain. And if you need to, because you just got to get through a rough part of your life, or you can't sleep and it's affecting the work, relationships, those kinds of things, then I'd say, okay, go for it. But don't make it your long-term plan. Let's work on stuff like this so that you're not having to get the next injection, and you can fix the root problem so you're not having cartilage issues the rest of your life and then ending up with a surgery at some point because you never addressed the root problem and you just relied on injections and pain medications. So I'm kind of glad for you, Rosanna, that it didn't work, because now I hope that you're like, screw injections, we're not going to have those anymore. Let's fix the root problem. Let's move forward. But at the same time, I do hope you get some relief very soon. So I'd start with this stuff here to get the relief, Rosanna. Marine's got more. She's, oh, it's the same comment. Okay, let's just put it on twice. Hello from Sizzle. Oh, I forgot your name. I remember you told me your name. Was it? I don't want to butcher it. I feel like I don't remember clearly. If you can tell me your name, hopefully I can find it in the comments here. Jay Figs says, hello, Dr. David and everyone. Kimberly's here. I was looking for Kimberly. There you are. Kimberly's here every week. Sizzle Surveyum says, I sit for long periods of time and my knee hurts. Yeah, I know what that feels like. What can I do to alleviate the pain? I am stretching, icing. What should I do icing? And then I'm trying to walk. Don't be walking. That reminds me, I need to do my avoids list here. Quad exercises. This relates to you, Sizzle Surveyum, sorry. I'm just going to write quad exercises. Your knee probably hurts when you're just sitting around, because when you bend your knee to sit, it adds tension to the quad muscle. It puts the muscle in a lengthened position, which puts some tension through it. When you have the imbalance where your quads are too active because glutes are weak, that quad muscle is probably stronger than all the other muscles relatively. You might think you're a weak person. Like I laughed at the times that people come in and I tell them your glutes are weak, and they're like, oh no, I tell them your quads are dominant and strong and your glutes are weak, and they'll say, I'm weak all over. I'm just weak everywhere. Or I have people that say, no, I'm very strong in my quads and my glutes because I can, squat or deadlift hundreds and hundreds of pounds. But it's a relativity thing. It's your quads relative to your glutes. So you likely have very strong dominant quads, weaker glutes relatively, and those stronger quads are pulling constantly. And then when you bend your knee, you add even more tension. So it just compresses the knee joint further. It pulls the kneecap against the thigh bone. And then this tendon right here is pulling the shin bone up into the knee bone, the thigh bone right here, the femur. And it's pressing it. Just imagine if I got your hand, Sizzle Surveyum, and I smashed it. You could take it for a while. Like if you put your hand on the table and I just put my weight through it with my other hand and I just hung out there, you could probably be there for a minute or two, maybe 5 or 10 minutes if you're very tolerant of it. But after 15, 20 minutes, an hour, you'd say my hand is falling asleep. It is hurting. I am literally squeezing the blood out of it. That's why it starts to feel the way that it feels. And it begins to become damaged at a certain point, after so many minutes or hours. It's the same thing that happens like when you're sitting and you're just shifting your seat. You subconsciously shift because you have this reflex, or I don't know what it is. There's something in your body that tells you that part of your butt cheek's falling asleep or it's starting to hurt, and you just shift in your seat and you're like, okay, I'm fine. And in that part of your butt that was falling asleep or hurting, your body weight was going through it and the blood couldn't get in very well because you're just resting. And so it starts to get numb, tingly, painful, uncomfortable, whatever it is. And then you just shift your body weight to another spot, the other cheek, and now the blood gets into where it needs to go over here. And now you put pressure on the other side, though, but you got some time before you need to shift again in your seat. In your case, that extra tension right here is just squashing everything. And so it starts to hurt in the knee because you're just putting pressure. They call it the moviegoer sign, by the way. You can look it up. People get knee pain from sitting. They can't sit through a movie. It's because of the imbalance, this muscle imbalance I'm talking about. This is how you fix it. Get the glutes stronger because that calms down the quads. Get the abs stronger because that allows the glutes to be more efficient. Get the toes stronger because then it also makes the glutes more efficient, but it gives you some support from the bottom up. Those three things, this is just activating the muscles. Then bridges, heel raises, and mini squats get the strength up. Then lunges and hip thrusters really push the strength up and help you maintain. Ideally, you want to maintain. This is phase 4 here. This is about phase 2 and 3, 6, 7, and 8. This is definitely phase 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is phase 1 and 2. If I had to split it up for you here, hopefully that helps, Sizzle Surveyum. So I would not walk, I would not do quad exercises, and I would work on glutes heavily, and that should over time make sitting better. But it's not going to be better like today or tomorrow. It's going to be more like a week or 2 or 3, depending on how bad your muscle imbalance is. All right, we're still going. I got some time for you guys here. Jay Figs says, I'm bone on bone. Who cares? Don't let the doctor define you. Doesn't mean you can't get better, Jay Figs. It's just a picture. Fix the muscle imbalance. I got people in my programs, my hip arthritis program and in my knee arthritis program, who were told they were bone on bone, and now they're walking all they want without any pain. They're exercising. They're hiking. They're hiking mountains. They're going on vacation and sightseeing all day. They're so happy because a year ago the doctor diagnosed them and said they were bone on bone and they should have a knee replacement. They were scheduled for, some of them were scheduled for the knee replacement, and last second they left. Jay Figs, we got doctors in our group. We got healthcare professionals in our group. and their minds are blown. They're like, I can't believe nobody's shown me this before. And I have to tell them, this isn't taught in school. This isn't researched yet. But just because it isn't researched doesn't mean it doesn't work. Give it a shot. It takes 20, 30, 50 plus years for the research to come out and then become normal practice. Right now, normal practice is, oh, we took an x-ray of your knee, it's bone on bone, you should get a replacement. Let's try PT and injections first, but it might work, it might not. And really the doctor, sends you on your way, and then they're walking away and they're saying, oh, he'll be back in a few months, so we'll operate then. Meanwhile, you go through PT and you're like, quad exercises, here we go. Bike, here we go. Treadmill, here we go. All this stuff that I'm saying not to do here. And then you leave PT, and the PT themselves, they see post-operative cases all the time. So they're trying to do the same things that they do with the people that just had knee replacements, thinking that it's going to help you trying to avoid your knee replacement. But really what they're saying is, I don't know how to handle this. I'm just going to try this because it works with my knee replacement people. And then as soon as it doesn't work for you, Jay Figs, you're like, Jay Figs, you should just go get the replacement done because PT's not working. Then the surgeon's saying, oh, you're back, just like I predicted. Come on, let's sign you up for surgery. Let's do this. This is what you're 60 now, you're 70 now, whatever age you are, Jay Figs, you're 50 now, whatever. They're going to say that, and they're going to say, let's do it. Meanwhile, you still have this roaring muscle imbalance going. Let's fix that. Fix that first, even if you're bone on bone, Jay Figs. You got this. Oh, Sizzle Serum. She's got a highlighted question here. Thanks so much for your super chat here. Sizzle Surveyum, I'm so sorry. She says, thank you so much. I was in such pain and was not sure what to do. This helped me so much. Oh my name is Melody. There you go. Thank you, Melody. I'm glad we're able to help Melody. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. This stuff works, guys. I'm telling you. Try it out. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose, guys? You only have improvements to make. At worst case scenario, you end up having the surgery that the doctor thinks you're going to have anyway. Best case scenario, you're better enough to avoid the surgery. Like Melody here. I'm gonna remember you now, Melody. I got your picture here on our software. Melody says this feels nice to do with my knee. Fantastic. I'm glad you're getting better, Melody. She's talking about the tailgate swings. There's Melody's comment on the tailgate swings. Very cool. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. Who else we got? Charangit Hoda 7952. I'm just going to call you 7952. I was sitting cross-legged, and when I got up, my left knee dislocated. Had to push it in, and that made me sweat. What is the remedy? Whew. Sounds like you got a severe, what do we call it? The tibial shift. I mean, if you have ligamentous laxity because you had a previous injury or you've got some condition you were born with, like Ehlers-Danlos, then that would explain why you're having this. But very often that's like you had an ACL tear previously, MCL tear, like you were in an accident. I would be careful with that. You probably need to strengthen the right muscles, this stuff, to make sure that your ligaments are okay in your knee, because this restores normal pressures in your knee, not just for the cartilage, but for the ligaments too. It's healthy. It's the way that your leg should move, the way that your knee should be. You should be able to do lunges and hip thrusters like I showed you without it hurting and focused on your glutes. It's overall good health exercise, good health movements, maintenance for your knee. So this sounds like it's what you need to do here. You should be able to cross your legs just fine. All right, let me go to the next comment on here. We got Miss Catnipper, born and raised in Dallas. Happy summer camp memories in Comfort near Austin. Oh yeah, I've been all those places. Very cool. I'll making fun of my terrible math. I'm actually usually pretty good at math. For some reason, I got hung up by that. Mindful138 says, I just replaced my dining room table for a high one and 6 high chairs for this exact reason. Tailgate swings. I love it. Yeah, you kind of need a high chair. I've seen people make it work with, they'll put like, if they have tile floor or wood floor, not carpet, they'll put socks on and just slide their feet. That could work. Put a piece of paper under your foot if you're barefoot and slide it on the tile or the wood. I've seen people get furniture, those pads, those plastic pads, what do they call, like furniture sliders or movers, and they'll work with that. It's a little resistance, of course, but it's still relatively low. The best solution that I would recommend if you don't have a good height is sit on books. Get some big books, get your old phone books, your dictionaries, your thesauruses out. Stack up a couple of books just high enough for you to get your feet off the ground. That way you can do your tailgate swings. And you don't necessarily need to buy furniture, but I'm sure your table looks nice and your chairs look nice real too. So hopefully that was a 2-for-1 deal. You got a nice dining room table and now you could do your tailgate swings. We got Denise says, thank you so much. Your live has been very helpful. I'm dealing with right now with my meniscus. Yeah, this is all spot on for meniscus injuries. But there's I forgot to highlight this so far, but there has been research on meniscus surgeries specifically, and they don't do it in the US. Like, I don't know if they'll ever be able to do it in the US because of the way their healthcare system is set up. But I think it was in Finland, it was some European country where I think they have socialized healthcare, where the government's running the healthcare. So the government's incentivized to make sure that we aren't overdoing it with surgeries, because surgeries can be very costly. Anyways, they did placebo surgery. A sham surgery is what they called it. So they took people that all of them had meniscus tears, like known meniscus tears as per the MRI, and they split them up into 2 groups. And one group was going to get a normal meniscectomy surgery where they cut out the piece of torn meniscus cartilage. And then the other group was going to get a sham surgery, meaning they did an operation, they went in, they put the person under anesthesia, everything, except when they got to the meniscus, they said, we're not going to touch it. And then they closed them all up. Staff was all there, everything was done the same, and the people didn't know if they had their meniscus cut or not, because everybody had incisions, everybody went through anesthesia and everything, and it was incredible what they found 6 months later, 12 months later. They've even done follow-up studies 2 years later and 5 years later since this group first went in, and consistently across the board, the people that actually had a piece of their meniscus cut have done worse 2 years later, 5 years later. Initially, 6 months after the procedure, both groups got better the same amount. They all reported improvements. So that was cool. But it also raised the question of, do we even need to do a real surgery here? If we didn't touch the meniscus in this group, what are we doing? Why is this really helpful? And a similar study was done for disc surgeries in the spine. This is emerging research. Like, this is not widely researched yet. And I'm sure, I don't know how surgeons feel about this. I don't talk to many surgeons because of kind of my position in the healthcare field, but I hope your meniscus heals and you don't ever have to have a surgery. Let me list a couple more of avoid, and I'm going to answer the next question here. I have them over here. You also don't want to do hamstring exercises. I'm just going to write ham exercises. So walking, cycling, quad exercises, ham exercises, because these 2 muscle groups, these are thigh muscles right here. Just going to write thighs. They add pressure to the knee joint because they cross the knee joint. And the glutes don't cross the knee joint, but they can influence the knee joint because of the rotation that happens that aligns the kneecap better and puts the right pressures in the meniscus. But the hamstrings, they come in from the back of the butt area, the back of the hip, and then they come down and attach just below the joint on the shin bone. And they bend the knee when they shorten this way. That's one of the movements. They can also extend the hip. But because if those muscles get real strong, real dominant, then they can pull the shin bone up into the thigh bone and add compression to your meniscus as well. That's why I tell people, no need to strengthen your hamstrings initially. Later on, when you're doing lunges, when you're doing squats, weighted squats, when now you can walk for exercise, because walking isn't an avoid always. Let me underline these. Walking and cycling aren't to be always avoided. It's to avoid when you're in the early stages and you're starting to figure out how to get your glutes working. If you don't know how to fire your glutes, don't walk and don't cycle for exercise. But once you've mastered firing your glutes, you know how to do it, they work pretty well, your knee pain's gone, then you can come back to walking and cycling for exercise, as long as you can use your glutes properly. then it's okay. I cycle. I don't have a car. I bike. I walk. I run, and my knees feel fine. But it's because I am using the glutes. So make sure that you're fixing the glute problem. Big deal. And you'll be able to avoid the problems that come with walking and cycling. A couple more things. Oh, this one's a big deal. Walking backwards. Let me rant on this for a while because there's a lot of people that talk about this, walking backwards and it potentially being beneficial. And I strongly disagree. I strongly disagree with this. If you're walking backwards, you are. Oh, we got another question on here, another super chat. Sorry, I almost missed it. Roshini Singh. Before I get into my walking backwards rant, let me answer your question. Hyalofast/PRP injection for grade 4 chondro, is it good? It might help. Getting a hyaluronic acid or PRP injection could potentially be helpful, but it's not solving the root problem. You're not going to fix the root problem with PRP, platelet-rich plasma, or a hyaluronic acid injection, or a stem cell injection. I forgot the other ones out there. There's like 6 kind of non-medication injections where the intent is to regenerate cartilage or heal cartilage rather than just take the pain away. You're not improving the pressures in the joint. That's the root thing. I'd be okay with you getting an injection as long as you understand that you still have to get your glutes active. You have to figure out how to fire the rest of these muscles. You need to make sure that you're eventually progressing into these harder versions of these exercises so that those same muscles, the abs, the glutes, and the feet, are all getting stronger, and that you have conscious control over these muscles so that when you go walking and you do any other exercise, you're using those muscles. Because not using those muscles is what probably got you to this chondromalacia patella problem. The injections are only going to give you short-term relief. So just don't make them your long-term plan. That's the big concern for me. As people go get these injections and they'll say, oh, okay, I spent $3,000 on PRP injections. This should fix the problem. I'm going to avoid surgery. And then 6 months later, they're like, dang it, it's back. And then the doctor's saying, yeah, you just got the first round. Come get your second round. It's another $3,000 or whatever they cost nowadays. Hopefully they've gone down in price a little bit. They're not cheap, especially the stem cells. So I hope that helps, Roshini. You have got to fix the muscle imbalance. You can use those, but don't forget the muscle imbalance. You have to use those glutes. Don't forget the glutes. I think that's what my shirt says. Don't forget the glutes. So cool. We got these shirts made. All right. Where were we? Still got a little time left with you guys. A lot of comments came in. Let's see. I read that one already. Here we are. I think we're here. No, I think I read this one already too. Okay, Denise says, I hope we all recover soon. I have been battling every day with knee pain. I don't want to get a meniscus surgery. I prefer to do physiotherapy for a long time and also lose weight. Yeah, I prefer for you to do this stuff as well. This is good. Let's talk about losing weight, Denise. I think losing weight, if you're overweight, is always going to be a good idea. Fantastic idea, because it's going to benefit you in more than just knee pain. It's going to benefit you in your heart health, your brain health, your cholesterol levels, blood pressure levels. Like there's so many things that losing weight will help you with. However, if you're not that overweight, then it's not going to potentially make a big difference in your knee arthritis or your chondromalacia problem or your meniscus tear. It's not going to help your cartilage. And now there's research out there that says that you put like up to 7 times your body weight through your knee every time you take a step, especially if you're running. I think that's where it's seven times your body weight because of the pressure with the momentum. But think about it. If you have the imbalance I'm talking about, where your quads are active and it's pulling your kneecap up like this, and it's shoving the bottom, the shin bone, up into your thigh bone, you're going to have that pressure there even when you're not on your feet, because the muscle's tight. The muscle's overused. It's a fit muscle, the quads. hamstrings potentially too. And so your knee joints being compressed. And if you don't weigh, more than 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight, depending if you're small, 40 pounds is a lot of weight on you. If you're really tall, 40 pounds might not be that much weight. I mean, you should lose it for sure, but it might not make a massive difference in your knee pain. Let me put it to you this way. I have met people that have lost a lot of weight, like 50 pounds. Small people losing 50 pounds is a lot of weight, and their knee pain got worse because they went and exercised and they ate right. But when they exercised, overall they burned more calories and they ate less calories. So that's a magic formula for losing weight. Like, you're probably going to lose weight if you do that, as long as you don't have another problem. But the exercise they were doing was cycling, walking, weightlifting without using their glutes. And so their knees got worse, despite them losing weight. There's another factor at play here. It's the muscle imbalance. You've got to fix the muscle imbalance. And then I've seen the other end of it where there's people that have actually gained weight, but they worked on the muscle imbalance. They probably gained some muscle along the way, but they didn't necessarily lose weight, and their knee felt better. And then if you think about this too, I've had so many clients that have come to my clinic, very health conscious people, don't have any weight to lose. They're already skinny. And they have some muscles. So they're not like abnormally skinny, where it's a concern. They're just slender people. And they have severe knee arthritis. It's not weight always. I'm not saying don't lose weight. I'm not saying it's never weight. I absolutely think there's something. If you weigh 500 pounds, or even, let me be realistic. If you're 5 feet tall, you're a relatively short person. For me, that's about this high, and you weigh 200 pounds, you shouldn't weigh that much. I'm 6'2", so it's okay for me to weigh over 200 pounds. I should lose weight too, but 200 pounds at 6'2" would be about on target, maybe a little low for me even. I should probably weigh about 210. I can take that weight, but for a 5-foot person weighing 200 pounds, it's too much weight. If you lost 50 pounds, you'll probably feel tremendously better. But if you're at 150 and you lost 50 pounds, it would be a lot of effort to get down to that weight, but you'd also probably not have a big change in your knee pain. You need to fix the imbalance. The imbalance matters more than the weight. If you're on the extreme of weight, then you do need to lose weight. But if you're just a little bit of overweight, you don't need to lose that much weight. Good question. It wasn't really your question, Denise. It was more of just your well wishes for everybody. That's so nice of you. Hope we all recover soon. Let's see what Cynthia was saying here. I can't offload forever. You're right, Cynthia. You shouldn't. Eventually, you will walk on it, and then what? Yeah, you're right. You should offload enough to tolerate more exercises. Let me be clear on this for you, Cynthia, and for everyone else. I'm picking on Cynthia here, but this applies to a lot of people here. I'm telling people tailgate swing and offload, but this is the problem that people run into usually is they'll start using the cane, the walker, the crutches, and then they don't have a plan to get off. Some doctors, if it's bad enough, will tell you, you know what, you have arthritis, you're 75, get on a walker. And then the person says, okay, I'm old enough to, for it's okay, for where it's okay for me to have a walker. And then they'll never stop using it, and they'll be on that walker until their last days on earth. They might even move to the wheelchair eventually. That's kind of the thought behind this, is once you start on a cane or a walker, you just stay there. But I tell people, no, you need to get out of it. Start on it just to get the pain down. Once the pain's under control, then you got to work. You have to get the glutes working. You have to move to the bridges eventually. You have to figure out these mini squats. And if you can make your way through this progression, you hit a point where you say, I don't need the walker. I can stand just fine. I can do mini squats now. Glutes are working. Abs are working. My balance is good. Balance is getting better. Notice I never put anywhere on here balance exercises. We don't need to work on that. There's a burst of research that happened a while back, maybe 20 years ago, where they were talking about how balance helps osteoarthritis and other cartilage injuries. And they showed some improvements on there. And I remember just shaking my head at this and saying, we're working on the wrong thing. It's not it might help marginally. It's not terrible, but it's kind of a waste of time in that it's not pushing strength up in the right muscle groups. The thought is that because you're weaker, it's going to make you lose your balance, but then we're working on balance without working on strength. And so we're optimizing rather than maximizing. I need you to maximize your strength. That's why I say get all these reps in. You don't need to be balancing on a foam pad or on a wobble board, or it's not terrible to do, but it's kind of a waste of your time. When you got to be going to go get in 100 reps of something, why are you standing on a wobble board? And then to add to my list here, they got one more thing that I haven't put on here. So I'll make this one kind of one. Walking backwards. Oh, I haven't even gotten to that. But what did I have on here? Sidestepping is another one. I still got a lot to tell you guys. Sidestepping is another one you don't want to be doing. But there's this idea of sidestepping exercises helping activate abductors, certain muscles like gluteus medius in your hip. The intention is good. There's certain muscles that do need to get stronger, but the practice, how often do you sidestep? You never sidestep. You never walk backwards. It's rare. Let me say never. Let me back off on never. You rarely sidestep and you rarely walk backwards. For a moment, you might need to take a step back, but when do you ever walk backwards for 5-10 minutes at a time? Even 1 minute? You don't do it. When do you walk sideways for a minute? You don't. Maybe you need to step aside, 1 or 2 steps, but multiple, like 10, 20, 30 steps, a minute's worth of steps, you don't do it. It's impractical. You don't need to do it. It's working the wrong muscles as a result of that. And it might marginally help your cartilage, but I don't really help you. I want to maximally help you. Don't waste your time on walking backwards or sidestepping. So, sorry, to go back to your comment, Cynthia, about offloading forever. If you're offloading and then walking backwards or doing sidestepping exercises, quads, hands, cycling and trying to walk for exercises, then you will always be in pain because you're always going to be working on the imbalance and you're going to probably always feel like you need to be offloading. But if you stop doing all this stuff, I don't know if you're doing this or not. I'm just saying a lot of people end up doing this. If you avoid doing all this stuff and you work through my plan here that I outline in my programs and my recovery programs, then you'll be at a position where you can stop offloading. So you're not offloading forever. And then you can get back to walking normal. That's how my clients that are in our programs were told they had bone-on-bone knee arthritis or hip arthritis, and now they're walking as long as they want, hiking and going on trips and enjoying time with family, not thinking about their knee essentially, definitely not having knee surgery. They're not offloading anymore. They don't need to because they got the strength in the right ways. They got strength in the right way so that it's balanced around their joint, so they don't need to use a cane or a walker. So you can get there too. It's a matter of following this plan. Where people mess up is they say, oh, Dr. David's got some cool stuff. Let me try that out. But so does this other guy on YouTube. And my doctor told me to do this. My PT told me to do some of this stuff. All this stuff that I have in the red. And you're mixing it. You can't be mixing it. You can't do heel raises, mini squats, lunges, hip thrusters, and throw some quads and hamstring exercises in there. And work on walking backwards and sidestepping. And do some balance work on here. I didn't even write that on there, but added in here, balance exercises. I'm just going to write balance X. Don't do that. It's a waste of your time. We only got so much time on earth. Let's maximize our time, not work on these little things that aren't going to make a big difference. Probably even hurt you. Hope that helps you, Cynthia, and everybody else. Mike Music says, I could definitely tell that my arthritis pain lessened after began offloading and doing tailgate swings. I tell you, this stuff works. I felt better in a week, and 2 weeks later, I could walk again normally. Yeah, for some people to go fast, like with Mike here, you just need a week or two, and you can move away from the offloading. But you have to be working on this stuff while you're offloading. You have to be getting the glutes active, the abs active, toe curls, because all that is preparing your body to take the pressures in your joints and your knee better. It's allowing your cartilage to have a chance to breathe, to rehydrate. Then you start working on the strengthening stuff, and now the rehydrated cartilage can take it, and you don't need to go back to offloading. So glad it's working out for you, Mike. I wish you the very best. I hope you can get all the way better. Cynthia, you too. I want you to get better, Cynthia. Come on. Melody says, my abs. Yeah, you got to get those abs. They get ignored so much. People don't like to do them, but you got to do them, Melody. Come on, Melody, get your abs going. I just flip it on its head. You know, if there's that thing that you just hate doing, just work on it enough that you kind of love it. I didn't like to work on my abs either. Now I love working on my abs. I just charged through it. I just went and started doing ab work, started getting my lower abs work. Once I figured out that it needed to be my lower abs that I needed to work, I just hit it hard. I had a severe back problem at one point where I couldn't move. I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital. Thankfully, I had a colleague come by and help me. It was a Sunday. It was very nice of him to do that. But I had kids already, and I was just thinking, this is ridiculous. Plus, I'm a physical therapist. Come on. That's where I started to figure out how important the abs were, and I dove into it head first, did my own ab work, and then now it's part of my programs, and I'm talking to you guys about it here, and I have not had back pain since then. I've had it creep up here and there, but it's because I slacked it on my lower abs. I get back on working on my lower abs, and it goes away consistently. Amy, thanks for letting me know you can hear me. Jennifer says, so true about offloading. Been using the walker for a week and has afforded great comfort. Yeah, it makes a huge difference, Jennifer. Just don't hang out there too long. Make sure you're working on this stuff so you can eventually get off the walker. What else we got here? Cindy Allison 6680 says, I have knee pain. I am a caregiver. I can't use a walker. Oh, that's a tough situation. If you have to take care of somebody, you know, like if you're taking care of a family member, a friend or something, or if it's your work, your job, you got to do as best as you can to offload when you're not having to do your duties. That would be my recommendation. Mike says, haha, that happened to me. I couldn't fire my glutes. I can now. It's a process. And I love that Mike's saying this. You guys have to go through it. Just like I went through figuring out my abs for my back. You guys that are suffering with cartilage problems in your knees, you have to go through figuring out your glutes too. You just need to do it. And you know what? Side note, one glute might not be as strong as the other. That consistently happens. In fact, I can't think of any clients that I've talked to directly that haven't told me that they've got one glute that's just a little slower than the other. Don't work on trying to keep them both balanced. I see people say, well, I'm working on the left because that's my weaker glute. My right feels a little bit stronger. I'm trying to bring my left up to my right. I would say work them both out, because even if the one's a little stronger than the other, just get them both strong. Even if you're very strong, the left doesn't work as good as the right. If you're here instead of here, that's a much better place to be. You can go lift weights now. You're not going to need the walker anymore. But if you're spending your time working on your balance, trying to isolate just the left from the right, and getting the left to get a little bit stronger, then you wasted time where you could have been climbing in strength quite a bit. Don't worry that the left isn't as good as the right. We're always asymmetrical. We're not perfectly symmetrical in our body. That's normal. All right. Almost done here. We're at 2 hours. Look at that. Feels like it's barely been 20 minutes. Mike says, this takes some practice. I felt like I was learning how to walk again. Yeah, definitely takes. When you're learning how to walk properly with your glutes, it feels, you might be, you know, a grown adult. You might be in your 50s, 60s, or beyond. You might even be in your 20s or 30s and think, I've been walking for decades. Nobody has shown me how to walk. And healthcare professionals don't think about this. But when you think about how to use your feet, how to use your abs and glutes while you're walking, it feels foreign. And people will often think that they're looking weird, like a robot, but you make it casual over time, and then nobody really notices. Maybe just your loved ones that know you really well because they know you have a knee problem, but you fix it. Karen Green Hayward says, tightening one glute at a time is so hard. Yeah, go through it, Karen. Come on, you got to figure this out, because it matters for walking. Because when you take a step with one leg, the leg that you're putting weight on, if it's your left leg, the left glute needs to tighten a little bit. And then when you bear weight on your right glute, the right glute needs to tighten a little bit, and the left should have relaxed. And then you alternate like this as you're walking. So you need to be able to flex your left from your right independently. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk right. Think about it. If you can't flex your glutes like this, what are your glutes doing while you're walking? They're not working properly. Then your quads take over, other muscles take over, and that's how you set up your imbalance and overpressurize your knee. Your cartilage starts to get dehydrated. Then eventually it tears, it breaks down, it wears away because it's not hydrated right, because you've been compressing it. You don't give it a chance to recover and heal from the pressures you're putting through it. fix the glute problem, and then you start to decompress your hip, your knee joint, give it a chance to heal and get rehydrated, lubricate properly again, and we're good. You'll make it, even if you're bone on bone, even if it's grade 4 chondromalacia patella or a grade 4 meniscus tear. You can make this better. I'm not saying that the tear is going to go away and that the cartilage is going to be perfect again, but you can make it so that you can do stuff and you're not hurting anymore. Never mind what the MRI says or what the X-ray says. We know by research that it's not consistent with your pain and function, what the MRI says. Don't get too scared with that. Cynthia Sunflower says tightening the glutes hurts the thighs. Yeah, that's because your thighs are taking over. Yeah, that's a sign of a compensation, Cynthia. Your thigh muscles want to activate when you intend to fire your glutes. That's what's messing you up. Mike says this takes some practice. I felt like I was learning how to walk again. Yeah, and then I think we answered this one already. Phase 3 of ACL. Yeah, I think we answered that one. Cynthia's saying the crutches hurt the underarms. Yep. All right, guys. I'm gonna leave here. I've got to get going. There's giving me the signal over there. So very nice hanging out with you guys. I hope I answered some questions. I hope you all get your cartilage in your knee healthier. Apply this stuff. Comment on here if it helps you out. If you've already tried it out in the past, let me know. This helps my staff, by the way, because my staff sees what we're doing here. A lot of them are really young. They haven't had arthritis. You all let them know. Come on, that this is helping you out. That way we can keep making great content and continue to help you guys out. Y'all have a wonderful day. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.